Chamber, and we've been doing a heck of a job and working really hard to make sure that we bring resources and good resources to our members and to the business community. So this morning we had a great Economic Development Advisory Council meeting and a lot of great resources. And one of the areas that they touched on was the SBA loans and the assistance for business. So if many of you remember, we did our Small Business Summit back in January, and we had a special guest with us, Jamye Pritchett-Solorzano, and she was so impressive, we asked her to join us today. Jamye is with the Small Business Administration, the SBA, and so today she's going to talk a little bit about the 3 different loans and that we presented yesterday, and then she will have time to take questions at the end. So if you have questions, you should have a question bar in your screen, at the bottom of your screen. It looks like we have about 69 participants on right now. We had about 127 register. So Jamye, I'm guessing some people are still trying to sign on, but let's go ahead and get started. It's my pleasure to introduce Jamye Pritchett-Solorzano. Jamye, can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you.
Hey,
you guys? Okay, great. Can you see me?
I can see you. Everything's good.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a PowerPoint and we're going to put it up and we're going to talk through the PowerPoint and the various programs that are available. I want to take the weight off of the small business owners that are worried about what's going to happen. And we have 3 programs that we're going to talk about today, some that you can take advantage of right now. And then also we're going to hit on another program that's coming out as early as tomorrow, April 4th. So let's get started with the PowerPoint. As Deborah mentioned, I'm with the United States Small Business Administration. The administration was founded in 1953, and our mission is to help small business to start, grow, expand, and recover from disaster. So we got a quick agenda here. We're going to go through a few items here. Now, let me get started. Brittany, is there any way you could make the PowerPoint a little bit, is everybody else able to see it?
Yeah, everyone can see the PowerPoint, Jamie.
Okay, just a second.
Yes,
okay.
Everybody's saying they can see it.
Okay, great. So the meeting objective, we're going to deliver service and share information. I want to walk through the economic injury disaster loans and the loan advance. And I want to share it at the level that it makes sense. Easy to understand so that you're informed with what you need to know and break through those layers of government and bureaucracy. And so I'm going to try to keep this discussion, I want to make sure that I explain what it means to you as a small business owner so that you can be empowered to take action. So quickly share information about the programs. I'm going to provide a visual actually online on our website, sba.gov, where you can go to. And as Deborah mentioned, we're going to capture some questions. I'm going to do my best to answer the questions and provide accurate information based on the information that we have today. And the information is constantly changing, so I'm going to let you know about where you can find updates for the future as well. I want to empower you to move forward and take that next step. So we have a lot to do. We're going to cover all of the projects and the programs, and then we're going to take the questions at the end. So you're going to hear me talking for a while. And so we're going to get started. And I first want to start out with that economic injury disaster loan on slide 3. Okay, terrific. Okay, so on this slide, you're going to see our administrator, Jovita Carranza. She is the newly appointed SBA administrator. And in response to coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, small business owners in all of the United States, Washington, D.C., and territories are eligible to apply for economic injury disaster loan, including an advance of up to $10,000. Upon successful application, up to $10,000 of the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program could potentially be forgiven. The program provides small businesses with working capital loans up to $2 million and can provide vital economic support to small businesses to help overcome the temporary loss of revenue they are experiencing. The loan advance provides immediate economic relief to businesses that are currently experiencing a temporary loss of revenue. So economic injury disaster loan is available online, and we're going to talk about who's eligible and how to apply for it. Okay, SBA's on next slide, SBA working capital loans. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so the working capital loans are a little different than other SBA loans. SBA's economic injury disaster loan funds come directly from the United States Treasury. Your application is not going to go through a bank. Like I mentioned, it's going to go online. There is no cost to apply. There is also no obligation to take the loan if offered, and the maximum unsecured loan amount is $25,000. Applicants can also have an existing SBA disaster loan and still qualify for economic injury disaster loan for this disaster. And because you are applying directly to the SBA, there's no fees, so you're not going to be paying any bank fees. And I urge anybody that thinks that they are eligible to apply. Keep in mind, if something changes from the time that you applied, you don't have to necessarily take the loan, but you want to get your application in there so you can be considered. Loans are processed first in, first out. So you're probably wondering, am I eligible? SBA economic injury disaster loans or working capital loans are available to small businesses, small agriculture cooperatives, small agriculture businesses, aquaculture businesses, and most private nonprofit organizations. This includes businesses directly affected by the COVID disaster, businesses that offer services directly related to the businesses in the declaration, other business indirectly related to the industry that are likely to be harmed by losses. An example, manufacturers of widgets may be eligible, as well as a wholesaler or retail of products. Most businesses affected by COVID-19 disaster will be eligible. If you are not sure, apply and let the loan officer make the determination. Okay, so on the next slide, we're going to talk about what small businesses are eligible and what that looks like. So examples of eligible industries included, but not limited to, are restaurants. I'm sure we have restaurant owners on the line, retailers, manufacturers, sports vendors, owners of rental property, souvenir shops, travel agencies, hotels, recreational facilities, charter boats, wholesalers, you name it. If you're a small business, you are more than likely included in this pool. This is just an example of some of those businesses. So at this point, almost all eligible small businesses are going to qualify. And if there's any question as to whether or not you think you're a small business, I urge everybody to apply. We also have a link on our website, sba.gov, to find out the table size standards. If you have more than 500 employees and and you think it's questionable as to whether or not you're still small, you can reference our website. But I encourage everybody to apply and let the loan officer make a determination on whether or not you are actually small. Okay, great. Next slide. So in addition to small business, nonprofits are eligible. What kinds of nonprofits can apply for the program? Nursing homes, food kitchens, museums, educational facilities, senior citizen centers, daycare centers, playhouses, community centers, shelters, rescue organizations and associations. An eligible private nonprofit organization is a government agency or entity that currently has an effective ruling letter from the U.S. Internal Revenue Service granting tax exemption under 501c or D or E of the IRS code. Satisfactory evidence from the state that the non-revenue producing organization or entity is a nonprofit, one organized or doing business under state law. The Disaster Center is encouraging any private nonprofit to apply, and again, let the loan officer make the determination on your eligibility. So on the past two slides basically covered all small business and nonprofit. Now we do have some exceptions. What are some of the businesses that are ineligible? Agricultural enterprises. If the primary activity of the business, including its affiliates, is as defined in Section 8B1 of the Small Business Act, neither the business nor its affiliates are eligible for EIDL assistance. Please, if you're in an industry where you're growing, an agricultural-based industry, I'm going to pass along the contacts for the United States Department of Agriculture to Deborah, and I'm sure she will gladly post them to the Chamber website. We have something here for everybody. Other ineligible entities are religious or charitable organizations and government-owned concerns, businesses considered hobbies, gambling concerns where more than a third of annual gross revenue is derived from legal gambling activities, and speculative real estate businesses. These are some of the ineligible businesses. Again, if there's any question about your eligibility, I would urge everybody to apply and let the loan officer make the determination on who is eligible and who is not eligible. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how much money can I borrow under the economic injury disaster loan? I'm going to try to provide you with as much information possible in the brief amount of time that we have. And up to $2 million is the answer. $2 million for the economic injury disaster loan. And the interest rate is 3.75% for small business and 2.75% for nonprofit organizations. And this is a term of up to 30 years. This loan is to be used to pay bills that occur in the ordinary case of doing business. The loan officer will determine the amount and term of the loan based on the financial information that you provide in the application process, and we'll be looking at things like your loss of revenue based on the virus. There are no prepayment penalties, and there will be a 12-month deferment during which time you will not be required to make payments, but interest will be accruing. So there's a 12-month deferment. Okay, SBA's economic injury disaster loan terms. So what's the criteria? Credit history is one of them. Applicants must have a credit history acceptable to SBA and accessible, and it's going to be determined on a case-by-case basis. SBA will pull a credit report, but don't get hung up on your credit score. The loan officer will be looking at credit history as well as repayment ability. Collateral will be required for loans over $25,000, but generally lack of collateral will not be the sole reason for declining a borrower. If your financial statements show available collateral, the SBA may ask you to pledge it. Generally, the SBA looks first to real estate and then to other business assets as collateral. Okay, so we have an updated streamlined application process. So if you're interested in the economic disaster injury loan, what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at our website. It's set up to take less than 2 hours, the application from start to finish. The process will take you down the path to apply for both the economic injury disaster advance and the economic injury disaster loan. You will need to certify information, provide business information and business owner information, and additional supporting documentation may be necessary and requested as needed by your loan officer after you apply. So you're gonna go into the portal, sba.gov, and I'm gonna show you what those screens are gonna look like, and we can actually go in and take a look. Okay, updated, yeah, we gotta go to the next slide. Updated streamlined application process. Okay, awesome. Okay, so you're going to, and this is when you get into the website, it's really simple. That first screen that we were just on, you're gonna click a few buttons and you're gonna be at the updated application process. It's going to be that second page, and you're going to be prompted to start the process by determining what type of entity you are, whether you're a small business or a nonprofit. And then next, you will need to verify certain items to ensure eligibility for the program. Now, this is important. You need to make sure under the updated application process that you click all of these. It says review and check all of the following. So this is one of the things in the system that you got to make sure that you check all of these before you continue. Failure to check all the listed items will make the applicant ineligible. So you want to make sure that when you're on the screen, updated application process, and it says review and check all the following, that you actually do that. Then you're going to go through the application. It's going to gather business information, owner's information, and additional information based on your case before you submit it. It's estimated again that the application process is going to take about 2 hours. What I recommend to people before they even start the application is get your basic information together, your tax ID number, your name. Start thinking about get a hold of your copy of your taxes from last year, and be ready to dedicate an hour to 2 hours to actually sitting down and answering all the questions, and make sure it's complete, and make sure you submit that button. So I would do it all in one sitting. Don't come back to it. Try to knock it out in one application. Okay, so we're going to talk about tips to submit your application. The biggest reason for delays in processing is due to missing information. So make sure you have all the information available before you embark on submitting that button, because you want to have a complete application so the reviewer gets it. It's a completed package, it's online, and it's ready to go. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what if I'm interested in changing my loan amount once I've submitted it? Now, this is a little different than when you're going to the bank, and when you go to the bank, you're typically asking the bank for an exact loan amount. You can actually go back and ask for more funds. So if more funds are needed, applicants can submit supporting documents and request an increase. If less funds are needed, applicants can request a reduction in the loan amount. So there's some wiggle room, which is nice because, you know, this is a disaster. So you can't predict the future as to what's going on. And these are disaster loans, so it's designed to fit the situation. If your loan is denied, you have up to 6 months to request a reconsideration. So a reconsideration is an appeal, and in that reconsideration, you could stipulate, hey, I applied and things have changed, or maybe in my application process, everything that the true situation was not explained, and you're asking for an appeal and a reconsideration of the decision. So there's a appeal information, you have appeal rights if you're denied, and you can move forward. Now, Deborah works really hard for the chamber, and she is supporting small business. And the next program I'm going to talk about is new. It's going to be the Paycheck Protection Program. And I was hesitant because as a public servant, I want to make sure I'm providing you with accurate information. With that said, changes are happening so quickly, and I want you to be informed so that you can put one foot forward and take the next step and know what's coming down the pipeline. So the Payment Protection Program is not up yet. It actually does not go live until April 3rd. And that program works differently than the disaster loan program. And so we're going to walk through the basic information that I have on the Paycheck Protection Program. And then we're going to take back some questions on that. And I may not be able to answer all of those questions today. But we are going to be documenting every question, and if we have to, we can get back with everybody or post them to the chamber website, because I want to transfer that knowledge and transfer the information as soon as possible. And we can't wait for everything to happen. I know with everything going on, small business owners are doers, and I want you to have that information. And like I said, take the weight off of your shoulder, knowing what the next steps are going to be, so you can start envisioning what's going to happen, and be positioned for success as much as possible. So we're going to go through Paycheck Protection Program. PPP is the acronym here. So who is eligible? Small businesses with less than 500 employees. Certain industries may have more than 500 employees. So as you know, in government and with legislation, we always go out and say these are the people that are eligible, and then there's always a caveat to that. So typically it's small businesses with less than 500 employees, and there are exceptions. So do not, again, let that deter you from moving forward. Don't deny yourself the right to apply. This is going to include sole proprietorships, independent contractors, and self-employed persons, including private nonprofit organizations, 501(19), veterans organizations affected by Corona. This is something cool that I added in there too. Hospitality and food industry could also be eligible at the store and the location level if the store employs less than 500 workers. So we know our restaurants and breweries and food establishments have been hit terribly hard. My brother-in-law is out of work now. He worked in the restaurant industry, and their company is closed. So what I'm trying to get at here is Hospitality and food industries could also be eligible at the store and location level if the store employs less than 500 workers. And this means each store location could be eligible. So that's one of the important things to take a look at if you're in the restaurant industry. Where do I apply? So what you're going to do, unlike the disaster loan, we're switching gears. You're not going to be applying online. You're going to be taking a look at what SBA.gov has on our website. And then you're also going to go to an SBA approved bank. So apply through any existing SBA 7A lender or through any federally insured depository institution, federally insured credit union, and farm credit system institution that is participating. So what that means for you, the small business owner, is you're going to go to your bank, and you want to make sure that your SBA approved bank is a bank that is currently doing business with the Small Business Administration. They're familiar with SBA lending, and if you're going to your bank that you already have a business banking relationship with, it's going to be a lot easier for you. Now, lots of other banks are going to be applying to be SBA approved banks. For right now, I would definitely take a look at who you're already banking with and get on their website. Because of Corona, a lot of us can't go into the bank, and so get on the website. You're going to see some banks and credit unions already having information about the Paycheck Protection Program on there. And it's not starting until the 3rd. That's the launch date, the earliest date. So you want to start after today, figure out who you bank with, whether it's Wells Fargo or Chase or whatever financial institution it is, and see what they have on their website. What can you use the loan for? Loans are for payroll and approved operating expenses under the Paycheck Protection Program. And again, it's designed to incentivize companies to keep employees on staff. So not all of the, say you're approved for a loan, not all of it has to go towards payroll. It can also be used for rent, but you want to make sure that you read through everything on SBA.gov before you take your application, but I urge everyone to take a look today. Let me go on to the next slide here. Okay, so these are some of the loan specifics. 2.5 times the average monthly payroll for the prior 12 months. So the way I understand it to be today is, I'll provide you a scenario. So say, for example, my payroll, my average payroll for 1 month, average payroll for last year ended up being $10,000. So take a look at the average payroll throughout that year. When you come up with that amount based on the 12 months, multiply that by 2.5 times. The maturity is a 2-year fixed note, and the interest rate, and this is not a mistake, the interest rate is 0.5%. There is also a loan deferment on this, in addition to the economic injury disaster loan. Most of these SBA products are offering deferments, and the deferment is 6 months for the Payment Protection Program. And no collateral or personal guarantees are required, so this is a little bit different than the EDIL. EDIL loan, collateral was involved there. So in the Paycheck Protection Program, no collateral or personal guarantees are required. And whenever I want to make sure that everybody also is on the lookout. So the government nor lenders are going to be charging fees. So if you're approached, and be on the lookout for scammers. No, there's no fee on this, no government or lender fee. And so keep that in mind. Okay, so the awesome part, loan forgiveness. Like I mentioned with the economic disaster injury loan, there's a loan forgiveness piece to that. And again, we're seeing the loan forgiveness piece again based on the employer maintaining or quickly rehiring, keyword in there, rehiring employees and maintaining salary levels. Forgiveness will be reduced if full-time headcount declines or if the salaries and wages decrease. So once you take out that loan, you want to think about loan forgiveness down the road. So keep that in mind. And I know it's going to be a case-by-case basis depending on what kind, how many, what your payroll looks like. Okay, so we've gone through the economic injury disaster loan where you apply online. We just talked about the Paycheck Protection Program loan specifics. And now we're going to go to the Express Bridge Loan Pilot Program. So the Express Bridge Loan operates similar to the Paycheck Protection one in that you're going to go to a financial institution. So who's eligible? Small businesses located in communities impacted by presidential disasters and adversely affected by coronavirus. Where do you apply? Again, this is going to be at an SBA approved lender, through any existing SBA 7A lender, or through any federally insured depository institution. So if you're going to be applying for an Express Bridge Loan or the Paycheck Protection Program, you want to make sure that they're FDIC insured. And this is available now. What can you use the loan for? Loan proceeds must be used to support the survival and reopening of the small business. The maximum amount of the loan is up to $25,000. Interest rate on this is 6.5 over the prime rate. The term is 7 years. And so the next question, how many Express Bridge loans can I secure? One Express Bridge loan per disaster. So that doesn't mean that you can't, in addition to an Express Bridge loan, also seek a economic injury disaster loan. Okay, so assistance, we have resource partners. So what we do is we work with resource partners. We have over 13 offices in San Diego County. We're close by. So with 13 offices, we have a resource partner near you. I've listed 4 of the main resource partners, including the Small Business Development Center, SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives, the Women's Business Center, and also the Southern California Veterans Business Outreach Center for our veterans and military connected family members. So we have SBA resource partners near you. I will be providing the list with the addresses and phone numbers. They're available for phone consultations if you want to talk with a business advisor. They can help as well with the application, disaster, any application for disaster. And they can also help to provide business guidance and counseling to get your business back up and running in the future. And in times that, in non-disaster times, they're there to help you plan a business. So seize the resources of those resource partners. They're there to help us, and we work with them regularly, collectively, to accomplish our mission. Now, the next slide. So, like Deborah mentioned, I am a economic development specialist at the San Diego District Office for the United States Small Business Administration, and we are a branch of the federal government, and our main office is in downtown San Diego. So we have a newsletter, and we are issuing out press releases regularly on all of the updates that are happening. So you can sign up to become a member of our newsletter at the district office, and you're going to get local information from our office that's coming out regarding small business changes, COVID, everything that's going on in the small business world. So I encourage everybody to sign up to get our newsletter and our email alerts, because you'll get the most updated information as it becomes available. And okay, so questions. If you have questions regarding disaster assistance, there is a mailbox set up. There is a 1-800 number. And so if you've applied for the economic injury disaster loan, or if you have any questions on the status of your application, or if you want more specifics, that 1-800 number is very useful. So I've got a few questions with people that have applied a couple weeks ago and they want to know the status. What they would do is actually call that 1-800 number for the status. And then I wanted to, before we go any further with questions, I was hoping that we could log in real quick, SBA.gov, so we can show everybody what it looks like when you're actually on the internet at our website, SBA.gov. Okay, so literally SBA.gov, you're going to plug it in, and you're going to come to the Small Business Administration website, and you're going to see that top yellow banner, and all on that top yellow banner, yeah, go ahead and click right there, the coronavirus small business guidance. Okay, yeah, this is good. So this is actually that top yellow banner takes you directly to the economic injury disaster loan application. Boom, you are right there. And then if we can go back, I want to also show you, click on, Brianna, if you could click on the red button real quick under coronavirus. Yeah. Okay, so when you click here, this is going to provide you an overview of all of the programs, all of the loans, everything that's happening related to Corona. And the information, especially the information on the Paycheck Protection Program, is going to be updated shortly. So if you want to know all the narrative information behind each of the loans, you would click there. So SBA.gov, that's samboyadam.gov. That's our website. So all kinds of information is in here. You can take action right now and learn about all the various loans. You can apply for the economic injury disaster loan today. You can take a look at the information for the bridge loan pilot that happens at a bank. And then the Paycheck Protection Program. That information, it's coming out on the 3rd, and that information will be updated as soon as it's available. I think on the Paycheck Protection Program, there's actually a sample application form. And so you could get a visual of what the application is potentially going to look like when it's actually released. And I know I threw a ton of information at everybody.
Jamie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear you very well. Just
Okay, we have about 15 minutes for questions, and I've got a bunch of questions here for you.
okay. So what we're going to do with the questions is we want to make sure we get them all written down, and we'll answer what we can. And I want to make sure we have accurate information. So we may need to get policy clarification and get back with you because we need to provide the best service and let's go forward. So what do you have?
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay, somebody says well, this one I don't know if you'll be able to answer because it's a lot of PPP. Hold on just a minute. We have, what is the process to get the $10,000 forgiven?
Okay, and the economic injury disaster loan. So that's what we're talking. So up to $10,000 could be potentially forgiven. So you're gonna, I advise everybody to apply on that website, right? On SBA.gov. So you're gonna apply on that website, and part of it is, there's gonna be some questions on there, and it's gonna talk about the loan advance. So that loan advance, if you're eligible for a economic injury disaster loan, up to $10,000 could be forgiven, and you're gonna answer some questions under the loan advance section, provided you qualify. For the first step is qualifying.
Okay, the next question is, does a 501c4 qualify for any of these loans?
We're going to check on that. I listed everything that I saw, but let me check. Okay. I'm going to have to take that one up. We're going to take that one back. And so tell me a little bit what type of, can you try to get a little more information from the caller as to exactly what type of business?
Yes, Melissa, could you email me what you would like me to ask in particular on that? While I'm waiting for that, in the interest of time, let's go to the next one. Can an authorized representation, such as an attorney, complete the application for an authorized business?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next one. Are independent contractors with no employees considered small businesses eligible for the disaster loan $10,000 advance?
Contractors. We're going to take that one back and make sure before I go out and say yes. Again, the guidance we've been receiving is to apply. So, but I will take that back.
Okay, great. The next, is the EIDL forgivable?
Yes, so the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that's the acronym that you're going to see people throwing around, up to $10,000. So say I'm approved for $30,000 on the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, up to $10,000 could be potentially in the running for forgiveness.
Great. I do want to, before we go to the next question, we have a lot of questions, so we may go over 12 o'clock. Are you okay with that, Jamie, if we go over by a few minutes?
We are absolutely okay with it.
Perfect, because I'd like to get as many of these answered as we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we apply both for the injury disaster and paycheck protection plan?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Someone says, I want status of the EIDL $10,000 grant. How do we learn status? I called and was put on hold and told I was number 897 and it would take hours.
Okay, so we're going to back up. It's not a grant, it's a loan.
Right.
And yes, the 1-800 number on that, we have the 1-800 number in the PowerPoint. That is the best number to call. Us at the district office currently cannot check the status of an application, but please send me, can you capture the caller's information and we will follow up?
Okay, we will do that. I think, Brianna, you can do that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I know she's on, so. The next question. If we have submitted a loan about 2 weeks ago, we're unable to upload documents to the website because the website crashed, what is the best way to get an update? And the second part of that is, does the SBA recognize union dues as part of the total payroll expense? And is there a fee for the Express Bridge pilot loan, which you said there's no fees. So I would say probably number 1 and number 2, if you can answer those, that would be great.
For the union dues, I would go ahead and include them. And then, okay, so I'm going to be very transparent with everybody. The website encountered some issues, and we've since addressed it and rectified it, and we have a new Streamlined website up. I want to make sure, because the most important takeaway from this conversation is that you have your application submitted for the economic injury disaster loan. That is the most important thing. If there's one objective to accomplish today, it's to make sure that you are in line for that loan. If there's a question about whether or not the application was completed, then my advice is to ensure that the application gets submitted and to get on the website and actually fill out another application and make sure it gets in there. Now the website's streamlined, so it's not going to take as long as it was prior. So you want to protect yourself and make sure you're in the queue. And if it happens to be that you have 2 applications, I would rather someone have 2 applications pending than no application at all.
Great, thank you. Next question, for landlords, is there any help for impacted revenues with PPP or the emergency disaster loan if the properties are held in individual names and on Schedule E's?
Okay, so I want to say rental companies were included in the Paycheck Protection Program, and this is where we don't have the guidance and the expertise to break it down to this level. But we can take that question back, and I can present it and get some policy guidance on it, and go forward from there. I don't want to provide, I don't know, and I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to speculate. I want to get you accurate information.
Thanks, Jamie. I think we all respect that and appreciate it. Next question. We're an electrical contracting business. We have an affiliated company, common ownership, with less than 500 employees. Will my business under 500 be excluded for PPP as a result?
Again, let's take that question back, and I urge the caller to take a look at SBA.gov, the small business standards section, because there are there's variations there. So the way the legislation was written was to be all inclusive. So we can take it back. I would, if I was the caller, I would still go forward with applying. And interim, we can check on the policy clarification on it. So if we could get as many details as possible from that caller, that would really help.
Okay, Jamie, a question for me. Will you provide your email so these people can email you direct, or would you prefer they go through us?
I think what I want to do we want to provide service, and if that means that you give my email out to all of North County, then so be it.
Okay.
But what I think would help is that we consolidate these questions, because a lot of them are going to continue to come back, and that way you have the questions available for the new people that are going to be coming and asking the chamber these same questions. So whatever we do, we want to get the list together and provide a Q&A so that we're sharing information and actually addressing the questions. So we could learn on a global level instead of me just having a back and forth with each person. So
would you prefer we collect the questions and then send them all over to you at once?
I think that might be the best way to make sure that we are accountable for answering all of the questions.
Okay.
And it would be quicker for me as well.
Okay, great. The next question is, will EIDL or PPP loan forgiveness result in cancellation of debt income for future tax returns?
I got that question earlier. We're going to send that one back to policy clarification. And I don't want to get into anything related to taxes because that information is not even available yet.
Okay. We also have a question. Can we get a list of the questions and applicable answers? Absolutely. We just talked about that. The next question I have is, will we send a copy of the slides? Yes, we can send that copy of the slides out to everybody that's on this call, correct?
Everything that is on the slides is available on our website.
Perfect. Okay, is there a website address where someone can check the status of their loan if they completed the application with the old website?
There was, past tense, was. So no, at this point, you're going to call the 1-800 number.
Okay. Next question. When may we expect the $10,000 EIDL loan to fund? Will it be wired to the account identified in the application?
Yeah, so that's why they're capturing your direct deposit information. And as far as when the funds get released, that's a review process. So you're gonna apply, and it's gonna go into a queue, and then the Office of Disaster is actually gonna get that. Loan officers are gonna work it, review it. If there's any questions, they're gonna need to follow up. And the system, and there's systems inputs that they're doing behind the scenes. So while it says 3 days, it's not that quick, and it's actually a process. So I'm not gonna go out and say exactly how long, because I don't have an answer to that. A lot of it is dependent on the case-by-case situation, depending on the structure of business and what questions or what information may be needed. And I'm sorry, I wish I could say it's a hard 5 days or 10 days, but I'm going to be transparent, and I don't have an answer for everybody.
Okay, great. The next one is, if you applied online to economic disasters loan, $10,000 advance, and later applied to the PPP, how does it get rolled in or rolled up?
Okay, so there's two separate loans. And there's loan forgiveness on the EIDL, and there's loan forgiveness on the Paycheck Protection Program.
Okay. The next one. If we have multiple individual owners, does the loan pull a credit report for each one?
I have that question in the queue right now. So I don't have an answer. And we already have that pending, and they're looking into it. So okay. I look forward to getting a response.
The next one is, can you use the loan to help pay health insurance plan premiums for someone's business?
Okay, I did read on the Paycheck Protection Program that payroll also included health benefits. So I believe that's a yes. And when the information comes out for the Paycheck Protection Program, I would be taking a really close look on that. I know that it did exclude taxes. Taxes weren't included, but I believe I saw health in there. So those are the types of questions that you want to take a closer look at when we have more information out there on SBA.gov. And I'll also take that back as a good question and answer to specifically make sure that our information available is addressing what specifically is included in payroll.
Okay, here's one that two people touched on. An SBA person on the phone told my small biz client that the $10,000 advance is not required to be paid back. Is that true?
Okay, so the advance is the loan forgiveness that we're talking about.
Right. Okay.
Up to $10,000 of loan forgiveness. So that advance part is getting the funds immediately out there as fast as possible, and then also eligible up to $10,000 of loan forgiveness, provided the individual qualifies for the loan.
Okay, the next one is, I completed the request for the $10,000 advance. Is this a different application?
Okay, so the online portal, if you apply online, that's going to protect you for the economic injury disaster loan. And some of the questions are built into the application, and that's the advance piece. So one application, if you apply online, you're covered for the economic injury disaster loan with the online application that we've had this week.
Okay.
And that's separate from the other two different programs. The Paycheck, that's separate, and then the Bridge is separate. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. If you are not sure about your application status, say you applied 2 weeks ago, before the website was updated, and you're not sure if your application was submitted, and you're not sure if you're not sure of your status, I would advise to call that 1-800 number or get on the website and make sure that you apply for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance online, so your application is there. Any question as to, I would err on the side of taking action to reapply if you're not sure you have an application going.
Great. The next one says, I read that you'll be notified within 3 days of submitting the EIDL application. Is that correct?
I believe it does. I believe it does have a 3-day time frame on there. And that notification, I don't know if that's just an email notification of receipt of application. If you apply online, you should get a confirmation, and we went over that in the PowerPoint. You should get a confirmation number.
Great. The next one is for CARE/PPP. For fastest, best chance of positive results, do you recommend going through your local bank like CBT or applying through a big SBA broker that's set up with better fintech? And any risk to apply to 2 banks for the same type of loan?
Whew. What I would say is go to your financial. This is a twofold question. If it were me, I would go to my financial institution that I have a business relationship with. And secondly, if I banked at, for example, I bank at a few banks, I would go to the bank that has an established relationship and that is currently doing SBA lending, that 7A lending that we're talking about, because that SBA lender knows how to do business with the government. They're familiar with SBA products. And so go to the lender, and you can look online, figure out, hey, I'm banking at 2 different places. Which one of these, where do I have a direct deposit? And which one's going to process my application, and which one has a relationship with SBA?
Great. Here's another good one. Are business owners paid through distributions, not as employees, self-employed, and are they eligible for the PPP loan?
Deborah, can you say that first part again?
Are business owners paid through distributions? Are business owners paid through distributions, not as employees, but as self-employed? Are they eligible for the PPP loan? That might need a little more clarification, the question, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think we're missing a little piece of it.
Yeah, I think they might be trying to say if they're independent contractors. Yeah, let's get clarification on that.
Okay. Virginia, do you want to clarify that and either text it to me or put it in the chat and we can come back to it? We already asked this one. Could you please expand on what constitutes payroll expense? I've seen different descriptions. Also, if you are not seasonal, do you use 2019 numbers or the preceding 12 months for loan origination?
Okay, so what I've seen so far has been the preceding 12 months. I know if you're a new business, that kind of presents a challenge if you don't have 12 months. But we're going to take both of those questions back because we're getting really into specifics, and I don't have all of those specifics available at the moment. But we need to get answers for them.
Okay, the next one is, do you have a list of participating banks and credit unions on your website that could be shared?
Okay, yeah, we do have a, we have historical information of all of the lenders in San Diego County, and we have them broken down by a lot of the 7A lenders that we currently do business with. So we do have a list, and I can get that to you as well, Deborah, and I believe it's up on our website.
That would be great. Okay, one question I asked earlier, they just emailed me with greater clarification. The question is, we have an affiliated company, common ownership with greater than 500 employees. Will my business with under 500 be excluded from PPP as a result? We're an electrical contracting business. It says this company is going to apply for the PPP 200 employees regardless, but wanted to know if their affiliation with the other piece of their company is greater than 500. Will it exclude them because they're two different companies, two separate companies?
Yeah, so definitely take a look at SBA.gov, and on that PowerPoint, let me see what slide it is. You can take a look at the industries. Now, one of the things that I did impress during the PowerPoint was certain industries could potentially have more than 500. The link to look up the industries is on SBA.gov, and I don't have exact information on which ones could potentially have more than 500. There's a lot involved there. So I would start by taking a look at the table size standards on SBA.gov and sending that question in and include the specifics. I heard it was an electrical company, and I can take it forward for some policy clarification. And with that said, I would not stop at submitting an application regardless.
Thanks. Okay, here's one. Can a sole proprietor that has no payroll apply for the PPP program?
It does say that the program is for sole proprietors, so we'll take it back. You're saying so it's probably a situation where they're not paying themselves?
I don't know. That was a question.
Okay.
Can a sole proprietor that has no payroll apply for PPP?
We're going to take it back, and there's potentially a benefit there. So if there is a benefit, we want to make sure that we seize every opportunity to capture it. So I would say apply, and we can try to get an answer to that question quickly. Not all of the money, not all of the Paycheck Protection Program funds are earmarked directly towards payroll. So that makes me think that there might be another opportunity there. So I think we should investigate more before we say yes or no. And again, don't disqualify yourself.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose by applying, but a little bit of time. So my next question is, I'm a fitness studio, so business has changed dramatically. Hours have been minimized and doing some virtual fitness classes. Would I essentially get a loan to pay my employees who aren't working? Is that the premise behind the PPP loan program?
Absolutely, and the economic injury. So I would apply for both.
Great. A CPA told my client that the $10,000 is only available for the first 1 million applicants. Is that true?
I have not heard that.
Okay, I haven't either. Okay, someone said we've already applied for the EDIL. Can we also apply for the Paycheck Protection?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, does the city of San Diego have any relief programs? We have that under our resources on the chamber's website, sdbusinesschamber.com. Next question, can somebody apply for all 3 programs?
Absolutely.
Great. Can you hire an authorized company to complete paperwork? I have many approaching me. Any recommendations?
Yeah, so there is a section on there for authorized reps, and we don't have information on that we can provide. I can take that question back if somebody feels too intimidated with the paperwork. I can take that back.
Okay, great. Someone says a previous response doesn't answer this question. What are the specific requirements for getting the $10,000 advance forgiven? Not the application process on the website, but what are the specific requirements for getting the $10,000 advance?
Okay, so I'm not evading the answer. It's part of the application. So when you submit the EIDL application, there's some questions in there about the advance. So if you fill out the EIDL application and say, for example, you're qualified for $30,000, up to $10,000 of it could be forgiven.
Okay. Someone asked you to repeat, what is the interest rate for the EIDL again?
3.75 for small business and 2.75 for nonprofit.
Great. We have one of our viewers, he says he's a little bit confused. He thought that you cannot apply until April 3rd. And I believe that's for the PPP. And he asked, what loans are the audience talking about that were applied for 2 weeks ago?
Yes, so the PPP, Payment Protection Program, actually does not launch until April 3rd.
Tomorrow.
So, yeah, as early as April 3rd. So the loan that's available today and has been available immediately was a SBA disaster loan. So that's an economic injury disaster loan. So during a declared disaster, SBA is part of our mission is to help small businesses in the event of a disaster. Now, usually the disaster is a hurricane or a flood. So we instantly were able to provide economic injury disaster loans as soon as we had a declared disaster for coronavirus. So that's what's been in effect for the past couple weeks, and it's still there. It's on the website, so the caller is not losing out. Get online and apply, and so that's what has been in play for some time now, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan program, and that's how that works.
Great. Someone has a really good question here. It says, our employees are on UI. I don't know what that means, but it says our employees are on UI right now, and we would like to rehire them ASAP. Once Paycheck Protection Program is approved, can we do that? Can we rehire right away?
Yes, so unemployment insurance is the UI, and absolutely, and that is exactly why the Paycheck Protection Program was created, to retain your employees, keep them on staff, and or get them back on your payroll. And please, yes, apply for the program, and please hire your people back. We need jobs. We need to stimulate the economy going forward.
Great. The next one says he's not been able to log in to get an application started. They called 800 number and they could not help him log into existing app that they started. Can you walk us through opening an existing app?
Yeah, so it's simple. So Deborah, if you or is Brittany still on, just click SBA.gov. Okay, so up there, see that yellow banner? Well, actually, let's go to the red button. And so that's going to show all of the different programs that are out there. And economic injury disaster loan. And then it says how to apply. And that's the application right there. Another shortcut is when you come to SBA.gov, you click on that yellow banner at the top that said Corona COVID-19, and you're going to end up right here. So you're going to select what type of business you are, your business structure, whether you're a sole proprietor, and you're going to answer those questions. And you're launching into the application right there. 5-step process.
Great.
That's the application for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan.
I've had several people ask if we would send this recording out. Yes, we will. Brianna will put this on Facebook Live after we're done today. And we are going to send out a link to everybody in our daily brief tomorrow. Let's see. Should benefits, okay, for PPP, should benefits such as dental, vision, etc. be included or just health?
I'll get policy clarification, but I think we're getting too far in the weeds there. So, but if the caller wants policy clarification on that, I will absolutely get it. I'm thinking include it all.
Okay. The next one is I'm self-employed and take money out of my business account to pay myself. Different amounts every time. How do I prove payroll amounts to myself?
I believe from what I read, it said to take an average the last 12 months. And
okay.
And that is these type of very specific questions. We'll have some more information available on the website. We don't have it now. And then those questions, always feel free to, if you don't have an answer, feel free to reach out to our resource partners. because they're going to be answering these, they're going to be submitting these applications on a regular basis, and they're business advisors. So they'll be able to, these questions will have come up more often. So if you don't find an answer on SBA.gov soon, feel free to make an appointment with a business advisor and say, hey, these are my 3 or 4 questions I have for the application.
Great. The next one says, everything I read is that there's a cap amount to the EIDL, and it's on a first come, first served basis. Is that correct?
Okay, so part of that question is correct. During the PowerPoint, we discussed how much somebody could borrow, and it's up to $2 million. And as far as part B of that question, meaning we were going to run out of funds for the economic injury disaster loans, is that what the caller's trying to say?
I don't know. I read the question as it came in.
Okay, so $2 million and economic injury disaster loan. I don't think the $2 million is the loan amount, and I don't think that this fund is going to run out. I will ask that question and make sure and go from there. Now that's for the EIDL.
Right. And we're getting a lot of duplicate questions. It's 12:22. I think we'll take probably 2 or more. And then what we'll do is we'll put the rest together, because I know that you're probably pretty tired. This has been a long presentation for you. So we'll take 1 more question, then we'll combine them all, and we'll send them all over to you to get answers, and then we can post those on our website for our members. Okay?
Sounds great.
Someone says, well, this one's real quick. You mentioned the SD Chamber. We are the North San Diego Business Chamber. Our website is sdbusinesschamber.com. sdbusinesschamber.com. So we are the North San Diego Business Chamber. Someone wants to know, this is the last question. Is there a separate form to apply for the advance on the EIDL application, or is it the same 5-step online application?
It'll be built into that 5-step loan application that's in there online, SBA.gov, economic injury disaster loan application, and then advance. There'll be some questions in there.
Great. Jamie, I want to take a moment and really thank you. You've been such a great sport with all this. You're so knowledgeable. For all of our viewers and listeners, we're going to take all these questions, put them together in a document, send them over to Jamie. Give us some time to get the answers, and then we'll put them all up on our website. We had a great audience attendance today. And I want to remind everybody, go to the Chamber's website and you'll get constant updated resources. We update them every single day. And we are starting a new program for all Chamber members. If you are a small business doing business and you need some support, either legal, financial, marketing, communications, let us know, because we are asking our small business owners that provide services in those areas, if they have the time right now, would they step up and provide some pro bono support to our Chamber members. So with that, I want to wrap. Jamie, thank you so much. It's an honor. And again, you mentioned earlier that once we have more information, we can do this again, and you would be willing to come back on and answer more questions and maybe give more information on the PPP.
Absolutely. We are here to support small business today, tomorrow, 6 months from now, 2 years from now. We are here to help you.
Great. Thank you so much. It's a wrap, everybody. Have a great day. Stay inside and protect yourselves, protect your families, and we'll be talking to everybody again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.